I'm Carrie Shores with Larson Shores Architects and Interiors. I'm a designer, and what I'm going to help you do today is I'm going to share the design tools I would with my clients so that you can make a good decision about your hardwood floors. We're talking today about hardwood floors. What we do a lot is help our clients understand how to pick materials. But if you don't have a designer on staff and you're trying to make these decisions, the design showrooms can be very overwhelming. First of all, with dark floors, don't be afraid to commit to a dark floor. Dark floors are gorgeous. They're really elegant. To understand how things are going to come together in your house, if you have a pillow of some of your fabric or something you're trying to design around, another sample of wood, bring that along with you and put it up on the wood to see what it does to it. These floors are double smoked. Double smoked is a fuming process that's an old European process of aging the wood and getting a really beautiful depth to it, a quality that you don't find in many hardwood floors. This is a French oak, which is amazing, and to find it in 8 inches wide is just exciting in the design world. It's great to have those wide boards because it reminds you of the old world and you had these really great, beautiful, natural products. For this, we were thinking about a more modern design. A great pairing for this would be this strong yellow, gray, and black fabric that really has a modern edge to it. You can take additional paint colors to help you understand how the room's going to come together. This dark, gorgeous gray tone, which is incredibly popular right now, really relates to the black wash that's on this wood. And then we can add that pop of color, the yellow, to just have a really modern take to it. But if you're worried the room's getting too intense, you can just simply add a great light white wall color. One great way to compare things is to take different samples out in the showroom and lay them side by side. When you look at this floor, it's got more warmth to it. It's got a little bit more of that chocolate color. You could take a really vibrant, bold fabric. What that's going to do is expand your color palette opportunity. This beautiful turquoise color is a nice complement to the wood. It brings out that warm, chocolatey feeling, but also adds another layer of interest and richness. This family of samples is a really great gray family. So what that's doing is it's capturing the current trends in the market right now. Gray has been a really hot color in interior design. What I love about these floors is that they're not too strong in terms of a commitment. They have a great range of color. What it's going to do for you design-wise is open up a lot of possibilities in terms of matching your existing pieces. These floors are low maintenance. They're going to come pre-finished with a great polyurethane that you don't have to touch. This floor is one of my favorite floors. As you can see, it's got the overall gray wash, and then when you start to build your room and your paint colors, you can really start to kind of just build off those gray palettes. What we've done here is this great bronze color, which is getting some of the, picking up the grain and the character of the wood, but then also the low light gray color to bring out some of these other tones that you're seeing coming through. At the same time, you can take a really elegant graphic pattern. It's got the modern color scheme, the gray and the cream, but you could take this either way. You can add a bunch of great chrome or steel to this and make it contemporary, or you can put this with a rich walnut heirloom. This is the weathered brown family, and brown as a general rule is kind of a timeless decision when you go for floors. But what's great about these floors is because of the double smoked process, they have more of a richness and more depth to them than your average brown floors. You start to see these beautiful chocolatey undertones, and that's what you're expecting from a traditional brown floor. When we thought about this floor, we thought about how do we just take that richness and build on it. So we took a fabric that's also got that great dark background, but then pops in some different colors. It's got this goldish green color that's coming in here, bringing in some of the highlights. And then you can get a little bit more playful with it. Build up on some of that smokiness and these gray tones, and then you can see just how vibrant those undertones come up through this wood. Often when you're working with color theory, you find a complement. The blue is a great complementary color to the gold tones that we're seeing in this floor. And then because of this color is so saturated, you can open up the palette to this warm, softer tan color. And then again, to keep your room bright and airy, we add a pop, a paper white color that's gonna soften the whole thing. Because of the golds in this floor, we wanted to show you how you could just really dress it up with a more elegant fabric. It brings out the golds, and look what it does to our tan colors here. It really brings this palette together and has more dimension to it, letting that accent piece just really pop the room. This is the Summer Highlights collection. So the color that you're really going to read in this collection is more of that really vibrant, energetic orange. The dual hand stain process is really allowing multiple colors and depth to come through this wood. I start to see kind of more of those honey tones. Pairing it with a fabric like this that's playing off two different metals, kind of a taupey, pewter color, and a bronze, is starting to relate to the character of the wood, but then also the lowlights. With this one, it's such a gorgeous wood. I like to let it become more of the foreground, and I don't want to add a lot of bold accents colors to this, just to show you how you can let the grain come through, you can let the textures of the wood and just the inherent quality of oak hold this floor and bring in a really elegant neutral palette to it. In the engineered wood, you have a base layer that's your structure, but then you have the 4mm, in this case, wear layer. That's your layer of solid wood. So this is a sawn-cut French oak in 4mm thickness. This is a pretty special piece because you're seeing a lot of the character of the wood come through and you're seeing a lot of variation. So we wanted to take all the various undertones that we're seeing and tie them together with one fabric. That's one way to take a floor that has more variation, make it look much more intentional. In this fabric, we've got golds, we've got oranges, and we go into the greens. And so that's going to pick up all the different elements of this floor and tie it together. You can begin to look at all the beautiful glowing tones of this floor and how that is exemplified by pairing it with this orange color. Then we can take that idea and we can move it through the rest of the woods and start to see, look at this nice creamy yellow and how it takes those highlights and brings them to the foreground. You can add another wood tone to this, which is just going to exemplify the great character of this. This could be a great heirloom that you want to build around or cabinet color. The Modern Naturals is the lightest collection that we've looked at today. This collection is going to really virtually go in any space. If you have a room in your house that doesn't have a lot of natural light, these floors are all going to help you capture what natural light there is and reflect it back to create the feeling of a bigger room. Another unique feature of this line is that 85% of the boards are 6 feet long. If we start with this floor, we're seeing more of that aged, smoked feeling coming through. You can look at this board, for example, and see how it starts to get darker around this character and the knots. You're starting to see the undertones, this golden area coming through, but yet you get a bit of that smokiness that's adding just a really interesting palette to build your house around. If you begin to pull in this gorgeous gray color for paint, you start to see how that comes through and kind of takes that smoky quality and builds around it. You also have a bit of orange undertones coming through in this floor, so you can see how pairing an orange paint color with that, and again the gray with this smoked area here where we have all the character, is really starting to tell a great story. And to pull that all together, you can get a fabric choice in there that has a little bit of an elegant, more of the metallics, so it's playing off the metals and then the rustic. With the paint colors and the tones, it's really pulling the whole space together. In this floor, we love the gray again, so we're pulling that in with a richer, darker color. It's a strong statement. Gray and yellow are a wonderful, timeless combination, but when you start to look at the yellow in this board, you can look at how the highlights of the wood are coming through, and that's coming to the foreground and really just creating a very lively energy of that wood. And then bringing in a crisp white pop to kind of make a more modern statement and let that gray speak stronger. You can also, in terms of fabric, bring in a great, strong pattern, but minimal colors. So we're letting this very beautiful, weathered kind of patina wood speak for itself and become more of the visual interest. This is the lightest of all the woods we've looked at today. This is one of our favorite floorings because it's got that great washed out feel, like it just came off the edge of a seashore. But we have a great depth to this board because of the double smoke process and just the inherent beauty of the French oak. So we've taken this really great texture of the floor and paired it with a fabric that also has a great texture but isn't too busy in its pattern. We've also brought in a really deep, saturated color. Remember that if your space has a lot of light in it and you go with a light floor, you can be adventurous with your paint colors. You could go richer and darker, and the space can handle it. It begins to pick up all of this character of the French oak. So we're starting to see All of these pieces come to the foreground because they'll relate to the dark paint color. So expand the palette to have more of this great purpley gray paint color that brings out the aged smokiness of the floors. And then a softer white, because we don't want to be too harsh with this floor. When you're looking at pairing your cabinetry with your flooring, you want to look at how you can complement the floor. Don't try to match it exactly, because especially with these beautiful French oak floors, you're not going to get this beautiful smoked finish in your cabinetry. Well, I hope we've given you some good ideas today, but your next step is to go into a flooring specialty store. You need to take with you anything you want to work around and match to the floors. So those pictures we talked about at the beginning of furniture you want to keep, cabinets you want to match, any fabric that you're excited about, take those all to the store with you. Try to narrow down your selection to 2 or 3 floors that you're really excited about. You want to take the samples home and look at them in your own space. You really want to see how the samples are going to change in the morning light, in the afternoon, and the evening.